Hello, everyone. It is great to be back. My name is Parker Gauntz, and I'm here for our Week 5 discussion board, and we're going to talk about some policies for DUI collision prevention in Riverside County. So let's jump right into it. So we got to start off with the as-is, which is the current DUI enforcement and penalties within Riverside County. So for this policy, you would continue relying on the existing framework that California and Riverside County have put into place. For California, the BAC levels are 0.01 for a civil offense for anyone under 21, 0.04 for commercial drivers, 0.05 for anyone under 21, and 0.08 is standard for anyone over the age of 21. You can see that the list I have there on the right, that is kind of the current penalties per se for what a DUI would get you. So for your first offense, you're looking at a misdemeanor charge. You're looking at 3-year probation. You can do 48 hours to 6 months in jail. You're going to have penalties assessed with it. You're going to have DUI programs and ignition interlock devices, license suspension potentially. And obviously, as you can see, those get worse the more that happens, the more that you get caught doing a DUI. So our baseline for this in 2023, according to the Riverside County, California Traffic Control, there was 2,093 victims / injuries from alcohol-related crashes. Right, this is the baseline we have for the policies going forward. The budget would be the current operating budgets of the municipalities. Now, Riverside County is one of the largest counties, not only in California, but in the country. Excuse me. And not every city that is within Riverside County uses the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. There are some cities like Cathedral City or Palm Springs. They actually have their own internal police departments, so you would need to keep their operating budgets what they are. So now we're going to move on to what the more government policy option would be. So for the more government option, that would be to enhance DUI enforcements and lower the BAC limits and establish ignition interlock requirements for single DUI offenders. You could even make it mandatory in California to have ignition interlock devices in all vehicles regardless of your DUI status. So this policy would mean establishing a countywide DUI enforcement initiative. You're going to increase those DUI checkpoints. You're going to be strategic about it. You're going to have, particularly on the weekends, you're going to have them, holidays, major events. You're going to dedicate additional funding specifically to DUI enforcement and impaired driving enforcement. Like I said, we're going to lower those BAC limits to 0.05 for standard 21, and then we're going to lower it to 0.00 for any other class. And we're going to continue. This is going to be about a 6-month implementation timeline from development funding plan to policy action. An education plan / campaign is going to be issued first. Then we're going to move forward with the implementation, right? We don't want to just immediately start enforcing it. We want to let the public know that, hey, this is coming. You need to adjust accordingly. You need to be prepared. And I think that's going to be beneficial, right? So there was actually some analysis. There's a meta-analysis of DUI checkpoint studies, which found that alcohol-related crashes were actually reduced by at least 17%, and overall crashes declined about 10 to 15% when DUI checkpoints were in place. So there's evidence to show that this works. In order to fund this, there's not an exact budget that we can have because, like I said, it is a little hard. You have to work with those municipalities. However, California Grants Portal shows that what cities and other municipalities apply for. And I'm guessing about $1 million, potentially more, $1 million for RSL alone. In 2024, there was a California DUI awareness campaign that was awarded $730,000. So I think that would show that would kind of be where we're at budget-wise. But if we want to talk about the effectiveness of it, if we want to use that 17% estimate that we have from that meta-analysis study, that's going to put us at about 356 fewer victims if we dedicate this money and increase enforcement. So something positive would come out of it. So next we're going to talk about the less government policy, which would be a voluntary DUI ride home partnership. So basically what this is, it's actually a really cool idea. It would establish a DUI prevention partnership with bars, restaurants, breweries, wineries. So basically what this would be is you would offer discounted or free rides home during a designated high-risk period. So right, say, midnight on a Saturday, or, maybe there's a concert in the area. And you provide those customers with promotional credits for their rideshare apps, and those credits would be subsidized by the government to the rideshare program. So in this case, the government is acting as a facilitator and subsidized, almost like a bank, rather than the actual enforcer of DUI. So you're not having as many DUI checkpoints, you're not having as many ignition interlock devices, you're not adjusting the BAC limits or anything like that. You're not going through any of that. So there was actually a study on Uber usage, and it found that rideshare was associated with approximately a 6% reduction in alcohol-related traffic fatalities. So there is evidence here to show that this works, right? So if you use that 6%, that's about 126 if we take our baseline of that 2093 back in 2023. You're looking at about 126 less deaths or injuries from DUI crashes. So if we look here, the budget would be, and it's hard to get that exact number, right? You would have about $200,000 just for subsidizing the rides itself, because you have a couple different components. You have to subsidize the rides, you have to entice businesses to want to do this, and then you would need some sort of administrative cost and marketing costs to let people know about it and to run the program, right? So I'm estimating about $200,000 for subsidizing the rides. Then you have $100,000. I would use it as a tax incentive. We're not just giving money to businesses to do this. You would need to have a tax incentive and a program, and then you would need about $100,000 to have people, admin on this and market the program. A realistic implementation timeline would be kind of a 12-month period from the development of the program to launching the pilot program. Obviously, you're going to have to recruit businesses to want to do this. You're going to have to partner with different ride-sharing apps, Uber, Lyft. There might be a few other ones. And you could even potentially partner with Tesla and use their self-driving cars to be a part of this pilot program. There's plenty of different options. So yeah. Those are the 3 policy initiatives, and here are my references on my APA citations. And then thank you everyone for watching, and remember, don't drink and drive. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.